I said, well, why don't you come down south? Like, you know, come and have a look at the southwest. So she came down, and her actual words to me when we moved down there to the married quarters was, I'll give this 2 weeks. So I was like, oh, here we go. My hands just like, Ginge, wake up, wake up. And he's like smacking me in the face, like, Ginge, stay awake, stay awake. And I was drifting in and out. I was like 100% that bloke saved my life. And we're coming down, and then, but I remember the boss saying, I'm sure he said something like, if he hits the brakes, we're fucked. And this fucking red light just got on in front of me. I was like, if he hadn't said that, I wouldn't have.
Guys, welcome back to the Combat Fuel podcast. Today, we are joined by another Royal Marine, Mr. Tom Merriman, also known as the Commando PTI. Tom, thank you for your service, and please give us a little bit of an introduction about you and who you are.
Sergeant Thomas Merriman, Royal Marines Physical Training Instructor, father of 3 boys, absolute lunatics, and a husband to Louise.
What's harder, being in the Royal Marines or being a father to 3 boys?
Being a husband. They all have the challenges, don't they?
Yeah.
I think the difference is, you know, if I get something wrong in the Marines, I get shouted at by the Sergeant Major, whereas if I get something wrong at home, it's the wife. So depends who you want to get the the roasting off.
So obviously, we've evidently been in the Royal Marines for a while. You know, you're part of the furniture now, aren't you?
Yeah.
For a long time. But where did life start for you?
So I grew up in Stockport, the northwest of England. I think it's like the second biggest town in the UK. I think Blackpool's the biggest and Stockport's like the second biggest. At the time, it was quite a rough place to live. But now I've heard it's getting developed. People are moving to Stockport now. It's a suburb of Manchester, so you've always got work, you've got good links, you've got an airport. So it's quite a desirable place to live. But when I grew up there wasn't really much going on in the northwest of England. If you was work-wise, you know, if you was good at football, you had like City and Man United and Liverpool and Everton and all on the doorstep. You had a lot of community clubs as well, like Wigan, Bolton, Stockport, Oldham, Rochdale. There was loads of football teams. So, you know, if you was good at sport, if you was good at football, then, you know, you had an opportunity. But for me, I wasn't that good. So it was always, it was military or nothing for me.
Did you know that from quite a young age then, that the military is what you wanted to do, and specifically the Royal Marines? Yeah,
I think from about the age of 8, I wanted to be in the military. I was always running around in the fields with combats on and, you know, playing soldiers with my mates and stuff. But it wasn't until I was about 12 years old where my dad introduced me to a family friend. I can't mention his name because he works for companies now that we're not really allowed to mention names for the company that he works for. But he introduced me to him. He was a Royal Marine PTI at the time. He was from a town called Glossop, like up in Derbyshire, and I got chatting to him. Not at the time, I didn't realise this, but he was quite a notorious character in the Royal Marines. You know, people had nightmares about him. He was like the absolute monster of a PTI, and to me, he was just a family friend, and I got introduced to him, and from the day I met him, he just inspired me and influenced me, and I think from that day on, I didn't just want to be a Royal Marine. I wanted to be a Royal Marine PTI, which is what led me to where I am today. And he's always been there. He's a bit like an older brother to me. He messaged me yesterday, actually. We still speak now, and he's helped me through a lot of things in my life. So yeah, I think that's where it started really for me.
Stand-up guy. So in your early childhood as well, so he was a massive role model for you?
Yeah, big time, yeah. Along with my father and taekwondo coach, Steve Blomley, and football coach. There was quite a lot of influential men in my life, along with my mum as well and my grandma. They were quite influential to me.
How was your upbringing though? Any dramas, or was it pretty plain sailing for you?
So at home it was good. I had a really, there was me, my mum, my dad, and my sister. Mum and dad are still together now, so I consider myself quite fortunate in that.
Yeah.
In that respect, but
quite rare these days.
Yeah, really rare, and I can kind of see why, because we've had challenges. My wife and I have had challenges, and we're still together. So I understand like why people do separate, because I've been through similar events. But I think my childhood, we had this like home that I couldn't have asked for more. We didn't have much money, but we had a lot of love and morals, and good like ethos was being installed at home, good habits and stuff. Like we sat around the table and had tea. We when I came home from school, we did chores around the house. Me and my sister did chores around the house to make sure when my mum and dad came home, there was nothing that needed doing. And my sister was better at that than I was, and I had needed a bit of a rocket sometimes. But it probably installed the early military sort of habits. Everything that was installed was probably, looking at it now, like discipline and manners and communication skills was all from my parents. But then I went to school, and like, cards on the table, I was fat and ginger, and I grew up in the 90s, so I was definitely getting it.
When you say getting it, so were you bullied at school?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. I was
for being fat and ginger.
Yeah, and I think that for me then, I couldn't understand it, because I grew up in a house where it was full of love and everything that you wanted. But then I went to school and got bullied, and
How does that affect you at a young age? Did it age you? Is it, well, I might still be ginger, but I'm not going to be fat anymore. And then
so it massively impacted that. Yeah, and there was an incident in my life as well, where which probably led. I'm probably jumping the gun a bit here, but I went through a little bit of therapy in my career, where I had to think back to a moment in my life where I was first, like, the first part of trauma, and I kept referring back to this incident, and the psychiatrist like, nah, way back. And I said, look, my childhood was good. There's nothing happened. He went, nah, there's something happened which made you the way you are today. And funnily enough, it wasn't the bullying. The bullying did help me like come fitter, faster, stronger. But there was an incident. We went on holiday once, and we'd managed to save up some money to go abroad. We'd never been abroad, and I was probably about 4 or 5 or something. Might have even been younger than that. And we're in the airport. We're going to Ibiza, I think, and the gate came up. Like, what gate we're at? I think it was like gate 3, and actually it was at gate 33. My mum and dad had got it wrong. So all of a sudden, I'm 3 years old. I've got my mum and dad in front of me, and my sister just legging it, just running down this, down the airport away from me. Now, looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, just run after him or whatever. But 3 years old, I was young, and I couldn't, everything I loved in my life was just running away from me, and I couldn't keep up. And that installed, at such a cognitive age, that installed like a habit to be stronger, fitter, faster, to deal with that. And I think that's what spurred me on, or pushed me in the fitness industry. That, along with the not being capable of doing that at school because of whatever reason. I believe that's probably why I am the way I am today.
Importantly, did you make the flight?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
How was the holiday?
Can't remember it. All I remember was running after my mum and dad. That's the only thing I can remember. Yeah, it's probably my earliest memory, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Awesome.
But yeah.
Hopefully, you had a nice. You got any family pictures from the holiday to look back on and be like, yeah.
Yeah, funny enough. So growing up, I hated Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Right. This is weird. I hated Mickey Mouse. I don't know why. And then my first son, Harry, I had him when I was 23, and he used to love Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or whatever it's called. And every time I've put it on, I'll be like, oh my God, like, I can't stand Mickey Mouse. And there was a picture of us in the airport that day, and my sister was wearing a Mickey Mouse rucksack.
Yeah.
So all I could see was Mickey Mouse running away from me. So it's mad how it works. I was speaking to a psychiatrist about it, and they went, that'll be the reason why it's cognitive and it's in you. It's fear. You associate Mickey Mouse now with fear. And I was like, wow, couldn't believe that. But yeah, we have got photos of the holiday. You don't want to see them though.
No, I do. Fraser, you got to go and find these, like, drop these into the podcast. We could see a little ginger
yeah.
3-year-old Tom
Yeah.
cutting about. So was your parents any military in your direct family?
So my dad was in the Fusiliers, and he went to Gibraltar when they closed the border.
Yeah.
So he used to speak about that quite a lot. I also had like an uncle that's not really an uncle, but you call him an uncle because he's
Yeah.
a close family friend. And he was in the Navy. He was from Hartlepool. He was probably the biggest influence on me joining the military. That's probably the reason why I wanted to join the military. And then the other guy was why I wanted to go in the Marines. And he joined. He was basically from Hartlepool. It's called Norman Robinson, and he joined the HMS Warspite in the war. I think he was 15 years old, so he wasn't old enough to join, but he got the local vicar to sign his papers so he could join the Navy.
Nice.
So he ended up going in at an early age, or earlier than usual. And the stories he used to tell me, just like I could just listen to him all night. There'd be something on the telly, but I'd just be sat there asking him questions about, what was Singapore like, what was Malaysia like, what was South America like,
And that's one of the opportunities the military gives to us, right? The travel is phenomenal,
Yeah.
and it's free, and we're paid to go and do it.
Yeah.
I think a little bit off topic, but guys today and girls don't capitalize enough on what's on offer.
Yeah.
Go skiing for £100.
Yeah,
Where
absolutely.
do you want to go? Go and volunteer for
And there's
anything.
normally a qualification as well at the end of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm a kayaking instructor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a rock climbing instructor, mountain leader, all of them.
Yeah.
Like, why not? I went away to Germany to go rock climbing for a week.
Yeah.
But it's the travel is phenomenal. How did your dad take it when he's actually very proud of his history with the Fusiliers, to being like, Dad, I'm going to go to the Royal Marines?
Yeah, so I think my mum and dad were quite happy because I think they knew I wasn't the most. I was that kid that I was probably capable of getting A's in everything, but there had to be a reason. Like, what do I need that for? And a perfect example, when I went to the careers office, told them I wanted to join the Marines, they said to me, you need maths and English A to C. Back then it was A to C GCSEs,
Yeah.
And the only two GCSEs I came out of school with was maths and English. So I knew I could get it.
Yeah.
But there had to be like which I think that's quite bad because it just shows lack of discipline, in my opinion.
Or is it, again, I can agree to an extent, but today I think we might call it ADHD.
Yeah, it is. And I found out.
If there's no end goal for what you're trying to do, what's the point then?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't normally, a lot of people now, when you talk about ADHD, the first thing they say is, oh, this is my son, he's got ADHD. And it's like,
it's not a label.
Yeah.
It's just a thing you have that might make you be a certain way and act a certain way and certain mannerisms, but it's not, I don't think it should be used as a label.
No, I agree. I think I found out in 2023 that I had ADHD, and that was my sergeant major when I was working at Pool. He asked me to go and get a check because he wanted to know, and I think for my own benefit as well. And I was like, yeah, I'll go and get a check. Like, wasn't really bothered. But then when they rang me up and the doc had done an online assessment and he said, look, you've got ADHD, it kind of hit me and I thought, well, hold on a sec. What does this mean? And now, do I need medication? Do I need to change my life or my habits? And then the first person I rang, funny old thing, was my sister. And she basically said, well, I could have told you that when you were 6. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's like,
yeah.
I've got it as well. Like, we've both got it. And I think everyone's got an element of it. I think
it's a spectrum, right? It's not a you've got it or you've not. It's where we all sit on it. Just
Exactly.
Some are way down there, some are way up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's healthy. I think, it doesn't stop me from doing it.
Did it change anything in your life when you got your diagnosis?
It just makes me think, like, should I be acting like this? It just makes me pause a little bit and go like,
so it was an overall good thing then. If
Yeah,
it
I
made
think
you
so,
have a
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
self-reflection on what you were doing.
Yeah, and I don't medicate either.
No.
So I've thought about getting the medication. I think the 3-year waiting list has kind of put me off it a little bit. But
Same.
Yeah.
It's not had any detrimental effect to my life so far. But maybe, if anything, I just need to take a minute to think about what I'm doing and how that might be perceived or come across.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a bad thing. And it's nice that it's not like I'm ADHD, can't work.
Yeah.
Well, you work
Yeah,
before that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
And yeah. When you went to join, how old were you when you went to join the Royal Marines then?
So I remember, originally, and again, this comes back to my mentor, I joined the army went to join the army. A lot of people now are going to be like,
What have you done?
So I went to join the army. I wanted to join the artillery. Because I had another granddad who was Royal Artillery. And he was on the beat. He was in the beach landings at D-Day. So I went to, me and my mate, Phil, we went to, is it Glencoe? Is it Glencoe? Up in Scotland to do the Armad, is it?
Yeah.
So we went and did that. And we went up there. I had to come out of school. I had to take time out of school. So I must have been 15 when I went to do that. And we went through all the process. And we went up to Scotland. And I did all the fitness tests. And then the bloke in there was like, mate, you're not going in the artillery, you're going in the paras. So I was like, what? So he's like, you've come top 3 of all these fitness tests. You have to go in the paras, because I didn't realise how they did it was like the fittest go paras infantry, and then the next lot go, they get subcategorised and everything. So I was like, okay. So I come back away from that, passed it. I was happy that I'd passed it. Me and my mate Phil both passed. He was now still going in the artillery, and I was going in the paras. And then it was like, I literally got given everything. I got given all my joining instructions. I got given my service number and everything. And this family friend rang me up the night before, and he was like, if you go to the army, you'll go to Germany, Cyprus, Kenya, Ireland. Now, I don't think this is, 100% true. Back then, it probably was. But he said, if you go in the Marines, you'll travel the world. He said, it's up to you. So you do what you want to do. He said, but tell me now why you're not joining the Marines, why you're joining the Army. And I said, I'm not fit enough. And he went, how many pull-ups can you do? I said, 20. He just went, I'm going to put the phone down. I'm going to let you think about that. He said, bear in mind, I'm a PTI in the Royal Marines, and I can do 15. And I was like, he planted the seed in my head.
Yeah.
And from that day on, I was like, and I think that is, we see, and we'll probably come on to online coaching in a bit. Online coaching or any coaching, it's not about what you can do, it's what you can get someone else to do.
Yeah.
And he made me think, if without that little like conversation, I'd be in the army now. And I probably would have done exactly the same in the army as I would have done in the Marines. But my dream was to be a Royal Marine. So he made me achieve my dreams. And that's what a coach does. Makes you achieve something that you thought was never imaginable. Yeah. So, yeah.
So we've fast forward and we're now at Lympstone on that platform. Remember it well?
Yeah.
Nice. How was the feeling going there from being a fat little bully ginger kid to,
hideous.
Wow, I'm about to do something pretty damn cool.
Yeah, so you go down your PRMC, which is now the CPC. So you've already experienced the platform and everything like that. And like the CPC is like hardest, everything condensed into like 3 or 4 days. So come away from that CPC and you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I can do 30 weeks of that. And it was 30 weeks back then. I think it's 32 now. It changes all the time. It was 36, 34, 32. But you're always going to be around that 30-week mark. And you've got to remember, it's not 30 weeks of that exact day. You're not doing the determination test for 30 weeks. You're doing 30 weeks of commando training. And part of commando training is a lot of that is lectures and weapon drills and, everything else. So that you do get a lot of downtime. But yeah, getting off that platform, 17 years old, and I was just, you got your ironing board under your arm.
Yeah.
You're like getting on the train. And you see all these people as well sat on the train. So you get down to the platform and you get off the train and you're looking around and there's loads of people sat on the train with ironing boards. And you're like, mate, you don't know him, but you're like, mate. He's like, nah, mate, I'm staying on. I'm not going to get off. And they stay on the train.
Oh, what?
They don't get off. Yeah, they bottle it. Yeah. They used to. I don't know if they still do that. And you can identify them because they've got ironing boards, they're wearing a suit. And you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, you put all this effort in. Why would you bottle it last minute?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And doing the job that I do now, I know that they instantly regret it because they all message me now and say, I've messed up. You know what I mean? But yeah, going down there I looked around, a lot of men down there that were like 24, 25, 28, 30s. And I'm there at 17 years old. And I looked.
For the core, correct me if I'm wrong, but joining really young is a bit more uncommon than what it is in the army.
It was. Yeah, it was. There's a lot of younger people now. There is a lot more younger people. I think the optimum age is probably about 24, 25.
Yeah.
But like when you join at 17, nobody really takes you serious. But when you join, you know, we get people joining now. Like I know a friend of mine joined, before he joined, he owned a security company. So he flew up the ranks and he joined quite late. I think he was about 28 or 30 when he joined. So he flew up the ranks because he was used to managing people, finances, you know, logistics, everything. So it does favour you a little bit to join a little bit older.
Yeah.
There's a few people now that message me, they're like 30, 31, and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, mate, go for it.
Do it.
Yeah, go for it. Because when you hit 33, you'll regret it. You know, you'll regret never doing it.
You lose 100% of the opportunities you don't take.
Yeah.
And, you know, what worse is, it's 4 years of your life and you're now part of a brotherhood that's that is around forever. And it's incredible. Any arm of the military is well worth doing it. And I think we'd share the same sentiment that if you have the opportunity to join, you should join.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's for your minimum service, get in, do it and experience it. And you'll look back in your life and be like, I'm so glad I did.
100%, yeah. Yeah, do it all again.
How was training for you? Was it
tough? Yeah, tough. So funny old thing, like and it's still the same today. The one thing that I prepared for the most was the phys, and it was the thing that I least needed. And I'm not saying that, you know, commando training is easy. It's not. But you start to look forward to phys because it's like it's the only part of the day really where you just forget about everything. You know, you're on your spot. You do an IMF, initial military fitness. You're running around, you're climbing ropes, you're feeling good. I've never come out of a phys session and gone, oh God, I wish I'd never done that. I've never done that. And, you know, I'm 41 years old and I've done phys pretty much every day of my life. Yeah. And I've never regretted doing it. So why would, you know, when you come off that, you're getting taught by Royal Marine Commandos. The only downside of it really is that you're always being watched. So it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But for me, commando training, I was adamant that I wasn't going to pass. I thought, I'm just going to get on the train and just see where I end up. And I was, you know, I thought fitness would get me, and it never did. And then I wasn't the best recruit. I just kind of tagged along. And I don't regret saying that. I'll be dead honest with you. I was like part of the troop, and there was all these people there that were like a lot older than me, and they're really, you know, you just bond immediately. Everyone's trying to help each other out. I was probably one of, if not the fittest in the troop, and I think, well, to say that's probably you can't really say that because you've always got someone who's first up the rope, and that person won't be first one around the camp circuit. Yeah. So there's all these different elements of fitness: swimming, running, endurance. You know, if you look at the components of fitness, they're all tested. So you're never going to be top of all of them. But one of the fittest in the troop, really enjoyed the phys. But then when I went in the field, I really struggled with like the discipline and the like not really the soldiering. I enjoyed the soldiering, but my mind was like elsewhere. I was thinking about so much. And that's what nearly, you know, when you think about quitting, it's that, you know, you're worried about, you're cold, you're wet, you're tired, you're hungry, you're fatigued. Yeah. And then you're getting tested tomorrow on a NAVEX, your weapon's rusty or dirty and it needs cleaning, your kit's wet, you're sleeping. You know, if you've let everything fall on top of you, that's slowly then where you go, this isn't for me, I'm going.
Yeah.
And you end up failing yourself, you know. So the tactic I always used in training, or tried to use, was prevention was better than cure. So don't let your bag get wet. Don't let your weapon get dirty or rusty or anything like that. And just make sure everything, if you got spare time, make a quick cup of tea or whatever. But also just have a look at your weapon, just strip it down and have a look inside it. Yeah. Make sure you're airing your feet, you know, and stuff like that. Just keep it on top of all the little things.
I think it's a brilliant piece of advice, well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah.
Was there anything during training that you were like, done, see you later?
Yeah. So I got to week 26 with my original troop, and week 26 was when you used to do your commando tests, and then you got like a green like rank slide that you used to wear on the CS95s, and then you did field firing and Final X, and then King Squad. So you kind of like pass your test and then went on Final X. So it was a bit like a false high, really. Yeah. You didn't get awarded your Green Beret at the end of the 30 miler. You got given a green sash to put on your slide. week 25, you went to pool to do the amphibious landing stuff. Halfway through that week, we did a beach landing and I hit my knee on a rock on the beach. Didn't feel it at the time. Just hit my knee. Well, I felt it, but it's like, yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
And then we carried on going. You got the landing crabs for so long, so you have to keep going round and practicing the drills while you've got them. So I was doing that. Anyway, later on that day, we got back to the camp and obviously got dressed, had a shower, realised I'd cut my knee. So I cleaned it and thought it would be all right. The next day we went back to camp and we had the 30-miler, not the 30-miler, sorry, the endurance course on the Saturday morning. This was a Friday. And I could feel my knee getting like tight.
Yeah.
And like I could hear it creaking when I moved it. Anyway, didn't say anything, just cleaned it, scrubbed it, got out of bed on Saturday morning. My knee was pretty much locked and it had like a golf ball on it. And I was like, oh shit. So it was infected. My mate Scouse was like, mate, you need to go sick, mate. I was like, nah, no chance. I'm going to do the endurance. He said, mate, you're going to fail the endurance course. And then it'll be down as a fail. And then you won't be able to do any other test. So it works. If you fail one, you can carry on. But if you fail the next one, you get back to it. So I went to sick bay. I thought, right, what I'll do is hopefully they can clean this out. I'll not do the endurance course. Then I'll do my 9-miler, my Tarzan, and my 30-miler.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and do that. Anyway, sick bay just pulled me straight out. They were like, nah, it's infected. You get back to it. So week 26 for me was like, I felt like I'd just been told to go home.
Yeah. Did it feel like you were a failure? Like I've got all this way in and I'm now.
It was like I never went. I didn't even know what an original was.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't before I went to CTC. I didn't care. I went for the green lid.
Yeah.
But then you meet these lads who become like your brothers, your best mates, and then all of a sudden you get taken away from them after 26 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, and through something as well that I like before my endurance course, I'd done 3 or 4 run-throughs, passed them all.
Yeah.
So I knew
not like
pass
you
it.
were being backsquatted for being a shit cunt or having any issues or anything. It was a genuine, I've had an accident and I've got an injury, and that's what Hunter Troop, I believe it's called.
That's right. Yeah.
It's there for a reason, isn't it? It's like, you're it's okay. You've been injured. We're going to get you fit and then we're going to go.
Yeah.
But how is that to like deal with psychologically? Like
horrific.
It's like, oh
yeah,
the whole world's done.
So I think the worst thing for me was I got took out the troop. The lads went and did the endurance course. You're now sat in the accommodation on your own. And then the lads come back and they're all like, yeah, I've passed. And you're buzzing for them. You're happy for them, of course you are. But you kind of like what? Where am I now? Where do I go from here? And I suppose this is where the unselfishness comes into the core values. You know, you've got to like, you know, just kind of park that feeling and just move on. And the worst part of it for me was like joining or going into another building, people that I didn't know. And I was like, where do I go here? Meeting new people and trying to rebuild those bonds. You know?
How long were you back troops for?
2 weeks. Literally 2 weeks. They cleaned the knee out and I joined the next troop. So I went to see the South Major of Portsmouth company, one of the companies. And I literally knocked on the door and I think he could sense by my body language. I think I was like honestly, just like, didn't want to be there. He'd obviously read all my reports and everything, and my reports were like physically fit, but, you know, tactically unaware, like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I was still learning. You don't do soldiering at school, do you? You know what I mean? So I spoke to him and I just said, look, sir, I said, I just want to get out of there as quick as possible. Now, if you say that to Hunter Company, that's music to their ears. Because you've got people in there that they're not as resilient as other people. If they've got a little knock on the shoulder or their ankle or the knee or whatever, they're like, oh, do 2 weeks in Hunter or whatever. And, you know, they'll play on those injuries a little bit.
They must use it as a little bit of respite.
A little bit, yeah. And I don't like to say that, but I've worked in Hunter as an RI. I speak to the physios, I speak to the training teams. We all know it happens. I wouldn't recommend that. My recommendation for CTC is get out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Get in, get it done, get out of there. Because the longer it's like a diving board. You know, when you go to the edge and you hesitate. Once you hesitate, it takes you so much longer to take that step. You know, so that fear of, I don't want to join that training team because their PTI is a bit of a Hitler, or I don't want to join that because it's still raining outside and I want to get in there and get it done. because you're going to be exposed to all this when you're a Marine anyway. So you have to just suck it up. So that for me was probably one of the hardest bits. But when I told that to the Sergeant Major, he was like, provided sick bay are happy, we'll get you out of here in the next troop.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that was it. Yeah.
And then that was you done. Didn't get back squatted again.
No, that was it.
Didn't fall over and hurt your knee.
Yeah.
Get a boo-boo.
Yeah.
How was it when you finally got awarded your green lid?
Oh, mate, yeah. Like, still now, like, hairs have just gone up. That was everything for me. Because I was in Marine Cadets when I was in. This is the ADHD now. I go back and forth. It's never a straight line. It's always like. So I think that because it can help you. I was at Stockport Sea Cadets, which had a Marine Cadet detachment. It was brilliant because it got me used to being away from home.
Yeah.
Got me used to feel like soldiering. I knew what an SA-80 was. I knew what a poncho was, a bivvy bag, and I knew what core history was. But also, you was around people who were either failed Marines or didn't have the bottle to do it. So they'd try and, like, the atmosphere that was built there was like, oh, you're never going to make it in Marines. Marines are like these people that just exist and you'll never be one of them. Almost like Avengers. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So in the back of my mind, there was that, like, am I going to make this? Am I going to do it? You know, it was almost, and then when you turned up at CTC, there was people there who didn't even know what the Marines were. They just thought it was part of the army. They didn't have a clue what the 30 miler was. So you sat there with this bloke, you're going, oh, mate, what you think about the 30 miler? He's like, what's that? What's a 30 miler? You're
That's
like,
somewhere I drive.
So I don't know what the best attitude is to have, that fear of knowing what's coming up. Yeah. Or the fear, it's like when you're running and, you don't know how long's left. Yeah. Do you just keep running or, I don't know. I think it's probably a double-edged sword, but yeah, so for me, to achieve that, knowing how much I'd been through with like joining the army or going to join the army and training and everything else, like the setbacks with the infected knee, it was like a massive release of like dopamine, and I just felt like, it felt like I didn't believe it. My mum and dad came down, I had loads of family come down from pass out, and to get that Green Beret, I was like, wow, and it still feels like that to me now. So I couldn't understand these people that passed out and just did like 3-4 years and then just went outside. I was like, did it not mean anything to you? Like that beret and that cap badge means more to me than, bar my family, anything. And I don't understand why people don't see the same values or share the same values. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. I think as well, sorry, I think it's knowing what people have sacrificed. Yeah. For me to wear that beret. So many people have gone before us. We're the lucky ones that are left. And we have to set the standards and the values to make sure that continues and remains. I think for me, that's the main thing.
It's quite refreshing to hear. I mean, no disrespect to anyone else, but I think some of the Royal Marines do really, really well. Is the standard is a standard. We don't care if you're black, white, pink, yellow, man, whatever you want to be on the outside, but the standards are the standards, and if you can pass the standards, then you're one of us. Yeah, 100%. And the standards are not changed for anyone, and the standards have remained the standards. Yeah, forever. Yeah, agreed. Like we don't, when I get given 60 fresh recruits, I don't identify colour, I don't identify gender. 60 people, and when they pass out, they're Marines. Yeah. That is it. I don't care if they're man, woman, black, white, Catholic, Jewish. I don't care. Yeah. You want to be part of my club, show me what you can do. Yeah. Or our club, then show us what you can do. And if you're good enough, you're in. Yeah. I don't ask. Love that. I'm not bothered about, and I think that at the moment we're getting wrapped up in a lot. I'm not going to get political and I'm not going to talk about it. Or we're getting so wrapped up in who can join, who can't join. Yeah. It just winds me up. Trying to be like, I mean, the RAF had it 1 or 2 years ago where it was, if you're a white male, your applications are closed because we need to increase our diversity. It's like, why don't we just recruit the best people for the job? The same as someone comes to work for us, you could be male, female, whatever colour you want. If you are the best person at your job, you can come and work with us, not for us, with us. And it's just, it should be the same everywhere in life, but people are so fixated on, but I might look really bad. No one that's like a real person actually cares. Yeah. Like, what you identify as a unicorn for you want.
Yeah.
Like, shameless plug.
We've got a few of them
Unicorn
as well, actually.
It's
Unicorns.
Love it. I don't want to know what you guys get up to. You're worse than us, you lot.
Yeah.
But so we've now got, you've passed that training, we're done.
Yeah.
And looking at some tours that you've done. The first one, I believe, was Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
So that was early 2000s.
Yeah, 2006. So it wasn't so it got called Op Vela. So we went out there with 40 Commando. And this was my first exposure to the jungle. And I absolutely fell in love with it. Like everything around you, you're like, it was just like, yeah, it's like something I've never experienced before. And we went out there because obviously 4 years prior was the conflict out there. So we went out there just to provide, just as a bit of a safety net, should the elections kick off again.
Yeah.
And there was corruption between the police and the army and then the people. So you had the police, the army, and the people, and they're all, they're all after something. Like, they're all scratching each other's back or whatever. So we went out there and went to a place called Camp Hastings where I was. It was only out there for about 8 weeks or something like that. Nothing kicked off. So it turned into an exercise, and we did an exercise out there, but working with the Sierra Leone people, you're walking around the street. What struck my eye was like how easy, like the divide between right and wrong. You was walking down the street and you was either looking at fighting age males carrying machetes, or you was looking at like fighting age males in pristine white clothing going to work. There was nothing like in the middle. And you'd look at, like, that made me realise about education and how much we take it for granted in our country. We was doing a patrol one morning and we was walking through a village and there was a young lad, probably about 12, and he's come out of this, like, shelter, which is his home. And it's literally, like, made of clay and wriggly tin. And he's got this white shirt on, which is, like, whiter than any of my shirts. And I was thinking, how's he wash that? Like, what? He wears that every day to school. And the amount of, like, respect and sort of energy they put into, and effort into going to school and education, they don't take that for granted. They take that as, like, a privilege, and that really struck me out there.
And we do, don't we? We take education for granted.
Yeah.
It's very easy to slate the schools and the way things are over here. We've got to remember, we've got it pretty damn good to be.
Yeah.
We know that if you have kids, they're gonna go to school, and minus extremities, like they're gonna have a good education, and the opportunities that they have are endless.
Yeah.
Whereas you got other countries where it's like, you get to go to school, wow.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of. I mean, I'm speaking to a lot of people now that they're not sending the kids to school anymore. They're doing home education, and I think, all right, I get it. I get you're looking out for your child's education and well-being or future, but you're taking them out that social network.
Yeah.
And they can't. We're finding people now joining the Marines, they just can't communicate.
Yeah.
50% of communication is body language.
Yeah.
And they just stood there like, just, looking at you.
Shell of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing about them.
It's not good. I think you need that. You need to be playing football at lunchtime, jumpers for goalposts, and you need to be chasing people and interacting and talking to girls, talking to lads. You need that. Otherwise, you can't read someone, But that's my opinion, eh?
Like it. Tom Merriman says homeschooling should be banned.
Oh, no.
I'm joking. But it's a brilliant thing. You can have your own opinion on something, and you're not going to be hung, drawn, and quartered for it.
Yeah.
Someone has got the right to disagree with you or agree with you. And it's, God bless our country. Not Labour. Daughters, carrying on. We've then gone on to an early Herrick 7.
Herrick 7, yeah. Herrick 7, that was, when was that? 2007. 2007, 2008. So I just got on with my wife, Louise. And she was pregnant before I went. So I had that going on at home, thinking about that in the background, which was a joint decision. We both wanted that. Look, cards on the table. I didn't think I was coming back. no, I was turning the telly on every day, Herrick 5, like another Marine's died, another Marine's died. And this is the way I think about things. You know, I love my wife to bits. She was my girlfriend then, and I thought, I'm the only Merriman male. This isn't like the end of our bloodline.
Yeah.
And I've got all this going through my head, and I'm like, I'm not coming back. So I need to, like, you know. So we had a child before. Obviously, Lou was pregnant. I went to Afghan. I had all that going on at home, but didn't, you know, concentrate on the job.
Yeah.
I had a really good tour. Well, thank God. We lost 3, which was, you know, terrible. Mark Ormrod was on there as well, so he was at Fob Rob when obviously he had his incident. There was a lot of IEDs, a lot of blasts. We saw a lot of stuff, but I was quite fortunate in the sense that I was moving around a lot. So I was part of SEALs TAC, part of I was motor troop signaller. Motors are obviously set up at units at FOBs. They don't need a signaller because they've got signalers. So I just got shifted into SEALs TAC. So I was moving around doing, like, you know, miscellaneous jobs, and we went to like Sangin, Fob Rob, Fob Gibraltar, Mog West. So did quite a lot of stuff. And then obviously came back to Bastion, went out, came back to Bastion, went out, sort of stuff. So it was good for me. I was talking to lads that were like out there 6 months straight, or well, turned into 8 months out, and they were just stuck at like Inkerman or Kajaki or Sangin or whatever for 8 months solid. And they were like going insane by the end of it. They were like, I need to get out of it. You know, but yeah, good tour. Really enjoyed it. Really lucky, really fortunate to be here to talk about it. Yeah.
And were any of them your friends, the 3?
No, so JT, I took the contact report for JT when he got blown up, and then Dave Marsh as well. I think he was in the same. I think he was in the same one. So I was fortunate enough not to be in the same, or not to be there when, you know, that happened. But taking the contact report in the ops room was like, fucking hell. You know, it's just not a nice place to be. But you put yourself there. You know what I mean? We put ourselves exactly where we are today.
Yeah.
You know, and that was part of the job. I'd say, like, when we went on the ground, so there was a few times when we went on the ground and, you know, you're at the gate, the fob gate, and you're waiting for it to open and you're prepped. And before you go out the gate, you've done, you know, psychologically, you've done orders, you've done rock drills, you've done, you know, briefs, you've reckoned the ground, you've studied the ground, you know what's happened there before and everything else. So you've mentally prepared yourself for what's about to happen. And I think that is the reason why I haven't suffered from anything that happened in Afghanistan. And I think that's because I mentally prepared myself. But the things that I have suffered from are from things that have just happened like that. And I like taking the contact reports. It's still in the back of my head, and it's like, it's not nice. It doesn't affect me, but it upsets me. You know what I mean? It's not nice to take that contact report or listen to someone panicking on the net. You're losing the friend, trying to save the friend. That's not nice. That upsets me that someone else is going through that pain. Not me. I don't really care about me, but that person, that individual, you want to do everything you can for your mate. And you know, you're in an ops room like, mate, we need med now. And the med's like, yeah, can we just, like, mate, hurry up. He's like, I need my details. So you need to get these details. Like, yeah, all right, fine. You're panicking and they're like, stay calm, give them the details, you know. Yeah. So yeah, it was a tough time. But we got through it, didn't we? Yep. We did. We were lucky.
And again, this is where I think you can relate to the standards. The standards are the standards. And they honour our friends that aren't here, don't they? It's, you know, you're doing injustice to them if you were to lower your standards. And that's why, you know, so many guys we did save as like the coalition forces, because of the discipline we carry through. But this tour was overall good. You weren't affected mentally or physically yourself. and you're here to tell your story and to remember those guys that didn't make it home.
Yeah.
This wasn't your only tour. You still had another bit that I don't think we can touch on too much, but you've been fortunate enough to do some stuff with Paul as well.
Yeah, it wasn't, I wouldn't call it a tour. It was, I deployed with, a lot later on in my career, like Pool, deployed as an asset. I wasn't badged. I was never special forces or anything. Normally when you talk about, Pool and everything, everyone's like, oh, you've bad, and I wasn't. I always put that straight out there as soon as I say that, I was there as an enabler just to have a look at what they do on the ground and, try and fix it or try and not fix it, but like prepare it better. So there was a lot of soft tissue, a lot of lads coming back from deployments with soft tissue injuries. So I, as an S&C coach and a rehab instructor, and I went to see if we could design something or program prior to them going out, just to put them in a better position. Spending a lot of time sat in vehicles like this with body kit on, plate carriers, helmets, and so the necks are going, the backs are going. They're getting out of the cars at the end of the day, and they're stiffening up. So it's just a case of keeping them mobile, keeping them on the ground, and that was it really. But it wasn't. But to see how they operate that opened my eyes. Yeah, like the assets that they've got and things like that. And I won't talk about anything because I can't, and two, it'd be unfair because it's not my domain. But to see like the way they welcomed us in as enablers, and to watch them do their job and how professional they were. If soldiering is what you want to do, have a look at that as an end game, because it's quite unique what these guys do on a daily basis.
In between these two tours, between Herrick and doing your bits with Paul, you had a accident.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was. I'll start getting a bit like I'll struggle to get this out a little bit when I talk about it, because I'd start to relive it a little bit. So apologise now if I go all over the place. But it was so it's actually before Afghan, and again this probably brings me back to like not preparing for what's about to happen. So like I said, when you're in Afghan, you're alert all the time. Even if you're on Bastion or Kandahar, the big, the big camps, you're waiting for an RPG strike, or there's always something going on. You're always thinking, you're always preparing, and when you go to the FOBs and the outposts, you're even more alert. So your senses are always heightened. On this day, mine weren't, and I kind of dropped my guard, and I think that's what really affected me later on in my life. So we was on PDT, pre-deployment training for Afghan, and like I say, I was motor troop signal. I was in a BV, like a Viking banded vehicle, and I was in the front left-hand seat driving it. The boss was in the front. Sorry, I was in the front left. Yeah, left. He was in the front right. And the vehicle just broke down. It was hot day. It was in June. It just, those vehicles, I don't know if you use them in the army BVs, but they're notorious for breaking down. They're designed for Norway. Yeah. We use them in like summer on Salisbury Plain and stuff. So I was driving. It broke down. We called for help, so we had to wait for the VMs to come. The VMs came within about an hour or something, fixed the tow bar, and they towed us back to camp. As they towed us back, we're going up this big hill, and like they're not powerful. They're not designed to really be like endurance vehicles. And it's chugging up this hill, and I remember being sat in the back and saying to the boss, like, I don't think we're going to make this. And we made a few jokes about it. Anyway, we got over the brow of the hill, and he kept the accelerator on. And we kind of catapulted over the top. Like when you go up on a fairground ride and you feel that thud. And we went. It was a fixed line, so we weren't ever going to fit. Hit the back of the BV. And then we started snaking, and it was clear that he'd lost control of his vehicle as well. So we're coming down. You know what Salisbury like? It's just full of hills and gravel tracks, and we're coming down. And then I remember the boss saying, I'm sure he said something like, "If he hits the brakes, we're fucked." And then this fucking red light just come on in front of me, and I was like, if he hadn't said that, I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have thought anything. And then we started skidding then. And then he obviously knew what he was talking about. He was a boss. And then we started skidding, and then we went over. He come off the track. I think he must have gone onto the grass to try and get some purchase, because we were just sliding down this gravel track. And we went over the grass, and there's a grass verge. And he's gone over all right. And then as we've come over, we've kind of took a bounce, and then we've gone up, and we've started to rotate on my side. So we're coming over, and it's all in slow motion now. Remember just getting rolled over. We did a full 360. And then as we went over again, the boss got thrown out. And then it landed. So I was like down here, and like the BV, like the BV, you've got like a gearbox here. You're in, and then it's pretty much similar to this seat, to be fair. You've got no head protection. And the gearbox is all on top of me now. And I was like literally in this fetal position, grinding to a halt. And I was still breathing, but it was literally like, I couldn't expand my chest. So I was like literally just getting little gasps of oxygen. And I looked up, and I could see the VM. He'd got out the front, and I saw him look under, and his facial expression just told me everything. I thought either the legs come off or something. I don't know. Something's happened. And then the boss come over. Fair play to the boss. He just, we could have been on fire or anything. He just fucking darted straight underneath, crawled underneath, grabbed my hand, and he's just like, Ginge, wake up. And he's like smacking me in the face, like, Ginge, stay awake. And I was drifting in and out. I was like 100% that bloke saved my life. 100%. I was out of it. So he was talking to me. The VM's on the phone, calling 999. And because it was on a training area, the ambulances were getting to all the gates, but they were all locked. So they couldn't get the gates open for the ambulance to come in. So then they dispatched the helo. So the helo's on its way now. And then the first thing that got to me was like, after 20 minutes was one of the estate cars. So the doctor, he come out, puts a oxygen mask over me, puts morphine in me straight away. And then he's talking to me, taking all my vitals and everything. And I'm like, I can, like I say, when you're in these sort of situations, your senses get heightened. I can hear and smell everything. And then this fire engine turns off, and they're having a discussion about getting me out. And they're talking to the VM, and they're like, that's battery, that's fuel. You can't go in through the back. They put a jack underneath at first, started winching it up, because they're made out of fiberglass, so it was just cutting straight through the vehicle and dropping it even more on me. So they had to stop that immediately. And then they found a way. They had to go through the batteries in the end. It's like, we can't cut the fuel. We have to go through the acid. So, but there's going to be battery acid everywhere. So they went through the batteries, and then they managed to, after it was about 90 minutes I was under there for, they managed to get me out. And I remember this just release of pressure and like sunlight in my eyes. I was like, felt like being born. You know what I mean? I was like, couldn't open my eyes, couldn't see anyone. Couldn't even tell you who was there. David Beckham could have been there for all I knew. I didn't have a clue who was there or what was going on. And all this time they've been giving me morphine. And I remember this helicopter. They put me on this helicopter. I got some more morphine, and then lights out. I was gone. I don't remember anything after that. I remember the props on the helicopter. I think the light, literally, they handed me over on the runway. I can remember a doc giving 2 briefs, and then that was it. I was gone. And I woke up in the hospital with a padre stood over me saying prayers. And it's like, I've not seen it for a while, but for a good 10, 15 years afterwards, 10 years, about 10 years, I could see this padre in my sleep. Like, I'd wake up and I'd see this vision. So that had a massive effect on me. I think the biggest take back from that was how cheap life was. It had been taken like that. I was gone. And then after that, I started adopting bad habits. I was drinking, I was smoking, I was not doing fizz, I was I was not working. You know what I mean? I was just a bit of a dick to be around.
Because there were coping mechanisms, right? After what?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think subconsciously there was pain, and I couldn't feel the pain. I couldn't see the pain. I couldn't feel it. But I was kind of being someone who I wasn't. You know, that person who was determined to get his green lane and determined to get his maths and English and determined to kind of gone. Kind of thought, what's all this for? Do you know what I mean? Why are we even here? What's the point? I don't know. I honestly don't know what was going through my head at the time. And then I went to Afghan after that. And I'll be honest, I didn't think about it once in Afghan. I didn't have time to. I was too busy thinking about the operation and everything. It didn't affect me at all in Afghan. But then when I came back and I had time to think, that's when he got me. You know, when there's like, you're not getting up in the morning, you're not doing troop phase, you're not, you know.
What was the pivotal moment when, because evidently you've turned that around completely, what was the point where you're like, this isn't okay, I'm not okay, I need to do something?
8th of March 2020. So it was a long time after. There was times in between where I'd been to get help, been to speak to people, and I tried different things. But on the 8th of March 2020 was the day where I just like, this has to stop. Jamie Sanderson, a lad who he's a former sniper, and he owns Rock to Recovery, the mental health charity. I don't know if you're familiar with Rock to Recovery. Brilliant charity. And I remember he said to me, without change, there'll be no change. And he was 100% right. If you keep waking up in the morning thinking that you're going to, it could be anything like you lose weight, you know, I'll start my diet tomorrow, I'll stop smoking tomorrow, I'll be healthier tomorrow. It's never going to come. Tomorrow will never be it because you're already in today. So it has to be now. You have to change it now. That, along with Sam Sheriff from Reorg, who I was kind of inspired by him because he was like the first Marine that I met who didn't drink. And I was like, you're a fucking weirdo. Like, why are you not drinking? Like, and I think the question I should have been asking was, why am I drinking? Like, you know, because there's a famous saying, not just in the Marines, in the military, in life, if you can't drink, don't. And I couldn't drink. I used to love it. I used to love going out and socialize. I'm a very sociable person. I love being around people. But you don't need to drink to be around people. You know, you don't need to drink beer or alcohol to be around people. It's the person that you know, that you want to talk to, not the alcohol, or not the pissed person, you know. So I think that kind of inspired me to go, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. You know, and like he's inspired so many people with BJJ and everything else that he's done, he inspired me to give up drinking, and it's the best decision I ever made.
Does Sam know this?
Yeah. He won't take it. He's very humble.
He is.
But he just kind of like, have you seen that over there? He'll just change the subject immediately. So, yeah, he knows it. And he knows what work he's done and how he's helped people.
At this point in your career, by the 8th of March 2020, were you already a PTI?
Yeah, I was PTI. Was I a sergeant? I don't think I was a sergeant. No, I was a PTI. So I passed. So that's quite an important thing to mention as well, actually. I think I got my PTIs. I achieved that in June 2008. Either 2008 or 2009. I should know this. I'll get in the ogin. I've obviously forgotten what day I badged. So it was June 2000, I think it was 9. And I was 23 years old. I'd died. I'd had a kid. I'd got married. I had achieved everything I wanted to achieve in life. So the next day was the first day I woke up and didn't have an agenda. I had no purpose. I had nothing to live for. I was like, well, I had to live for, but I had no to-do list.
Yeah.
And that is I think it's really important we speak about that and mental health, because you dream. I speak to these young lads and ladies now who want to be Royal Marines, and I'm like, just make sure there's a plan B. Just make sure you know where you want to go when you pass out. What do you want to do? I just want to get a green lid. You'll get a green lid. If you put the effort in, you will get one. But for what reason? If it's just so you can put it on Facebook, or it's just so you can make your dad proud or whatever, if you do it for someone else, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You have to want it, and then there has to be a so what. For what reason? Like, what's next? ML, PTI, DL, SF, what is it? And that, I think, is important, because a lot of people, they pass out in the Royal Marines and they think that's it. You've just opened the gates.
But that's where it starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've done the most basic of basics to be a soldier, same as in the army. And I remember Tom Fisher's name was, and it was now your career starts.
Yeah.
And it really is, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most basic. It's obviously a lot harder than most.
Yes.
So so there is a sense of achievement. Like, you can join some forces, and I think you should join the army, the navy, the RAF, and still feel achievement. There's no superior. It's a lot. It is a lot harder.
Yeah.
Look, what I'm trying to say is, look, we are an elite force, along with the paras. We're an elite force, and people recognise us as elite force.
Yeah.
But you can still, if joining the navy is what you want to do, or joining the army is what you want to do, that's fine. That's what is your goal. Be you. Don't try and be a Marine because someone else wants you to be a Marine.
Yeah.
You have to know what you want, and you have to get that, because no one else can be you.
Yeah.
I have to be Tom Merriman because no one else will be Tom Merriman.
Yeah.
So understand what you want and why you want it, and then go.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people don't work this out until halfway through Commando training, or on the CPC course, or maybe even when they've passed out. They're like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I think I better touch on when I say the most basic of basics, so I don't get slated for saying Royal Marine training's easy. By that I meant, like, as a Royal Marine, your initial 30 odd weeks, that's the most basic that your career is going to get. The same as an RAF pilot who's doing that for right at the start of your career. That's the most basic your career is going to be for your chosen job.
I thought I'd highlight that just so everyone gives you shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Before I get absolutely roasted and memed out of across social media.
Yeah. But no, I get you've literally just put your foot in the water, but you're in the water. So now we need to start swimming. And we need to, like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And that, I think, a classic example I always use is Tyson Fury. When you look at Tyson Fury, what he achieved, how he achieved it, he told everyone he was going to be the world champion. Everyone laughed at him. Yeah. And he was like, right, that's fuel to my fire. Yeah. And he went out and he did it for every single day he woke up, knowing that the goal was to be world champion. Yeah. And then he went out and he got it. Then after that, mental health kicked in, because he had nothing to wake up for. Yeah. And he's a classic example, along with many others, to go, well, I need to fill my calendar, because if I'm not filling my calendar, there's no purpose.
Yep. Have you got a goal for when, evidently at some point,
when to leave,
your career will be finished? You can't stay in forever?
Yeah, there's stuff going on. There's people who are looking out for me, and have asked me to do some work with them. One of them, I will mention him because he's been another real big influencer in my life. So Nick Olive, former Corps officer, he's created a company with Al Weldon called Ethos, and they've asked me to be a part of that, which I felt an absolute privilege to be a part of it, because I'm surrounded by good people that just want to achieve good things. And it's not financially driven, it's habit driven. Trying to create good habits and create good people and teach, good behaviors, which is what I enjoy. The stuff I do online is free. I'm not motivated by money. I never have been. I respect money. I understand it's there. I think one of the, when I talk about my mum and dad always creating good habits, one of the main habits that we lived on when we were young is that some people are so poor, all they have is money. I think Bob Marley said it, and it's a very, very true saying. I speak to quite a lot of people. I run a mental health organisation, and it's it helps people that are struggling with purpose and meaning and stuff. Some of those people are millionaires. A lot of those people are millionaires, And, mental health doesn't recognize money. It doesn't recognize rank.
No.
If you're having it, you're fucking having it. And I think it's important you understand that. People just think, you hear the question all the time, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And still be Tom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn into Superman overnight or anything
what
like
would
that.
happen? Like, I might buy some nice things and I'll carry on, wake up and do what I do today. I'll just get to enjoy some things that I might not have been previously able to do. But it's I don't want to say it's the root of all evil, but people think money will make you happy. It'll make you comfortable. Won't make you happy. Who you are, the people you associate with, that's what makes, especially me, that's what makes me happy. People I get to associate with and do. How long have you been in the Corps for now?
24 years.
So, not a short stint.
No.
How long have you got left? Do you know?
So I'm due to leave in November 2027. So, it's I'm ready to leave, but it works for me. The Corps works for me, and I think there's a lot of people. If I'd have stayed in Stockport, and I live in Exmouth now, so I literally, I'm like,
it's ideal for work.
Yeah, I'm 10 minutes from CTC. Well, 5 minutes. 40 minutes from 40. An hour from the Plymouth bases, or just over. So it works. The southwest. When I was at Poole, I was commuting to Poole and back. So I've got no reason. I still enjoy the Corps. I'll always speak highly of the Corps. And I remember there's a lot of people leaving now saying, "Oh, it's not what it used to be." And it's not. The Corps not what it used to be. It's 24 years older.
Yep.
No one's what they used to be 24 years later. And no organization is. I dare say if you look at Apple and Google and everything else 24 years ago, completely different.
Yep.
But I can remember when I joined 40, I was about 3 years into my career. And I was doing my joining routine, and I bumped into a lad in the gym, and he was doing his leaving routine. He was leaving the Corps, and he said, "Oh, you just joined?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, I'm leaving the Corps. I leave tomorrow." He said, "Good luck with your career, mate." He said, "This is shit. It's not what it used to be." Now, he was thinking that 24 years ago, and I've just had 24 years of the best years of my life. And so I guarantee anyone joining tomorrow will feel exactly the same. And, there's a saying that we have, there's no such thing as a shit runner show, just shit runners. And it's exactly that. You can go to a camp and you can think it's rubbish, but it's the people you're surrounded by. That's the Core to me. It's the people I meet, the mates and the memories. So it doesn't matter when you join. The brothers and sisters will still be there.
It's going to change our course a little bit here. So evidently you're not, I don't know how to say this without being rude. When you were growing up, social media and phones and technology, this wasn't a thing. Like when you went to school, you probably went on like a horse and cart and had a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Because you're that old.
Yeah.
How does someone that's grown up without this technology, and a lot of people see your face and be like, "Oh, this is the Commando PTI from social media." How did that come about? And how, you've done very, very well with it from and including myself. I didn't grow up with technology. We didn't have phones at school. Mobile phones weren't a thing. And now it's there. It's all that. I'm sat here with my iPad, like, I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
But how did it come about?
So first of all, I take no credit for the Commando PTI. All right, I created it. I'm probably being a little bit Sam Sheriff there. It's basically giving the candidates what they want and what they need. They need 100% correct content. That's what they want. That's what we need to give them. Cost free. I worked out. We was after when I came to CTC, I was supposed to be transitioning out of the Marines. I left Poole. I've done 3 years at Poole. I came to CTC, and like anything, as soon as I come to an environment, I kind of just dive in head first. And I looked at the environment, and I was looking at these CPC candidates, and I think there was one particular candidate preparation course where we had 60 join. Now, a lot of them will fail because of medical, because you have to do your medical there and then. I think we lost about 15 on medical. And then by the end of it, we finished with nine candidates. And me and the boss and the other PTI, we sat down at the time, we're like, we need to change this. So instead of speaking to the successful candidates, I called in all the failures. And I was like, right, what are you doing? How are you preparing for this? And they're reeling out all these online coaches. And I'm like, God, right, show me what you're doing. And it was clear that, they weren't. It's like I said before, coaching is a small town in Hungary. It designed carts, and those carts were designed to take people from where they are to where they want to be. It's not about what I can do. It's not about how good I look, because I don't look good. It's not about how big I am. It's not about how much I know. It's about what I can get you to do. And if I can get you to achieve your dreams, I've passed. I'm a coach. I'm getting you from where you are to where you want to be. And that was the aim of the Commando PTI. And that's always been the aim of the Commando PTI. It's not about me. Very few of the videos have me in it. It's normally my voice over the top, because one, because I don't like being filmed, and two, because they need to see what's going on the bottom field, in the gym, on the endurance course. They need to see that. They don't need to see me climbing a rope or doing pull-ups or anything. If I'm demonstrating an exercise, all right, that's fair enough. But that was the purpose of it. And that's what we tried to initiate. I think the social media side of it, that's thanks to my 18-year-old son, I think. So I was getting up in the morning, I was going to work, and my son is now 18. That was a lad that's Harry, the lad who we had before we went to Afghan. He's getting up in the morning, he's sat at the table, and he's there with his phone out, and he's like, doing this. And I'm like, right, stop, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just getting rid of that. He's on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. I was like, why are you getting rid of that? Music shit. Right, okay, what makes you, so I might put a video out there and put like Oasis on it, which are cool at the moment, but they weren't, before Live 25. Stone Roses. It was the Stone Roses. The Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, all these musical gods that I look up to and I put out there, a 15, 16, 17-year-old going to be like, boring.
Yeah.
So I then observed him and I said, right, why are you moving that on? Too long, video's too long. Music's rubbish. Doesn't come onto his feed because the hashtags aren't correct. So he taught me everything I kind of learned about social media subconsciously without telling me. I'm just watching it and I'm like, why is he listening to that? And I'd start using the music off that track and everything else. And also we were quite fortunate to have some good media guys around us who captured the content and stuff like that. At the moment, the Commando PTI is a bit of a grey area with the Royal Marines. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if it'll carry on going. I don't know. It's doing a job. It's influenced and inspired thousands. It's recruited, attracted, and prepared thousands. And it's also saved lives.
For free.
Say again?
For free.
For free. Well. For free. So I've got to add, so I created a school account. Yeah. Because one, we didn't have a school account. So I thought, right, we need to get on that platform as well. And it was a monthly fee of, I can't remember how much they were charging me. So I basically put into school, can we do it free? I emailed school and said, can we do it free? And they were like, no, it has to be subscribed. So I said, right, what's the minimum cost I can do this for? So they were like $10 a month, which at the end of it, I think it ends up about £6.54 or something like that. So that money has gone into, it's definitely not generating income or generating profit, because the amount of money that I pay for contracts, insurance, phones, adverts and everything else, it doesn't even touch the site. So, but there's been a few conversations where they're like, well, you're getting paid for that. I'm not getting paid for that. It's in an account. It's ready to go to a charity whenever I click the button. But it's covering the monthly costs, subscriptions as well. So that was the reasoning behind that. And then, obviously, there's the Instagram account and Facebook and everything like that. So all that's free, yeah. Free programming as well.
It's awesome. Sharing a lot of stuff from guys that are, Star, thank you so much. I've gone CPC, I've smashed it, I've done that. And like I said, from before where you were, 3 out of 60?
Yeah.
You've got through to then.
Yeah.
Where are you at today? If you were to take a course through CPC, out of those 60, how many do you reckon would pass, being able to get through to training?
So again, the medical's a big one. Because you can turn up down there and not know that you're going to fail on medical, and it's not their fault really. So we lose about, I'd probably say 20% medical. You're going to lose at least 12, 15 on medical, maybe. Sometimes less, sometimes more. And then a lot of the candidates are VWing. We're probably finishing at the moment with about anything from 10 to 20 out of the 50. But as well, the courses aren't as full as they used to be. And it's a tough one as well at the moment, because this time of year we have OSCs going through and stuff like that. So some of the courses are split with officers and candidates. But But yeah, a lot of the people are just not. I don't know. I don't know why they're not preparing. They're not thinking about what they're joining. You know, not everyone can be a Marine. We have to understand that. Just because we can drive a car doesn't mean we can go and compete against Lewis Hamilton on a racetrack. You know, you've got to understand what you're capable of, and you've got to put the effort in.
Yeah, and I think the whole world should work with that attitude. Like, just it's gonna hurt your feelings, and that's okay. You know, you're allowed to have your feelings hurt. If you're not good enough to do something, you're not good enough to do it, and it's as simple as that. Like, sorry, that's what the standards are. The standards, right?
I think for me, I always talk about this whenever I speak to people. Like, we'll have conversations in the office, and they'll go on for days, and they're like, "What is going on? What is going on?" And 10 years from now, the same team will be having the same conversations. But for me, I think everything changed when we brought in that everyone wins a medal at sports day at school. Because from that day onwards, we weren't accepting failure. Failure is a big part of life.
Yeah.
Every day you fail.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to understand when you failed, how you failed, why you failed, and how you're going to overcome that. Otherwise, you don't grow. That's growth. You know, when you go to the gym, you damage tissue. That then repairs and it grows. That's failure. The tissue's failed. It's damaged. And then it repairs and grows. And that's what we're doing as humans. You know, you're never the finished product. You can always learn something from someone. I learned so much from the candidates. You know, as a sergeant in the Royal Marines, I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I do. I learned how to speak to them. I learned how to engage with them. I learned what's going through their head. How do I shape my content to suit them? Not to suit them, but to attract them or to get them to engage more.
And saying you shouldn't, as a sergeant in the Royal Marines, think like that, you absolutely should. And that shows good leadership. You're not there like, that would be a boss. You follow me, you do what I say, I know best.
Yeah.
But a leader, you know, you can take advice from anyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I think it's brilliant that you say things
one
like
of the, again, looking at that, I spoke to Sam about this actually the other day. The first act of teaching, of coaching that we ever go through, one of, is learning how to walk. You know, we learn to walk before we can talk. And we do that by watching. We watch our parents and we sit there and we'll watch and we're like, oh, I've got two of them. Maybe I can do that. You don't go to school, sit in a row and go, right, these are your legs.
Yeah.
You're going to put this one forward, then you're going to put this one forward. You learn by observing. It's learned behavior. And this is something that gets lost a little bit, I think, in society today, is our kids' cognitive age, you know, 3 to 11, a scientist out there will argue and probably know, but it's roughly around that sort of age. We absorb so much from our parents. Little things like, you know, behavior, manners, road rage, you know, shouting at a TV when the football's on, all that sort of stuff. It all transfers into life, and we forget that sometimes. I forget it. I do it. I shout on the TV every time. I'm a Man United fan, so I've been shouting at the TV since 2013, mate. Yeah, but you know, it's and we're gonna get it wrong, but we have to understand that. You know, we have to get it right. We have to do our best. You know,
brilliant. I'm gonna selfishly now ask you about combat fuel, but
yeah, let's do it.
And just for anyone watching,
what's combat fuel? I'm joking.
It's just a thing. It's like my protein, but not shit.
Oh, okay then.
Just for anyone watching, this is like your personal opinion. This has nothing to do with the Royal Marines or anything like that. This is just products that you use and why you would use them for yourself. So I think we've got a few of them out there, things that you use. Do you want to talk us through them?
So the protein and the creatine is like, I've got creatine in my water bottle now. I think creatine is like unbelievable. And I think the research came out recently that it can be stored in the mind, in the brain.
Yeah. Really good for cognitive performance, delaying early onset dementia. Yeah. Fantastic product.
Yeah. So creatine and the protein I love. The ZMAs, the joint capsules, I found them really useful, really helpful. But I had to come off them because I was just taking too many. You know what I mean? I was doing too much of it, and I was like forgetting them as well. I wasn't disciplined, so I wasn't getting up in the morning taking all my capsules and stuff like that. So I found it quite. When you've got ADHD, you wake up last minute and you're like bang, bang, bang out the door, and you're like, shit. Forgot them. So, but what I will say is that my 13-year-old son, who loves the gym, loves rugby, loves anything fitness, he's got he takes his ZMAs now before bed. And he said to me the other day, can you get some more of them ZMAs? Because I find I sleep so well. He said, like, and it's interesting that he says that because, like, I think I'm so hyperactive. Caffeine doesn't have an effect on me anymore because I'm just constantly operating in the red. And I know that's unhealthy. I need to, you know, bring that down. It's something I need to work on. But for him to say that, because he's a, you know, natural 13-year-old boy and feels that the ZMA's working, I think is proof that these supplements are top quality and do what they say on the tin. But the protein and the creatine for me, I can't get enough. So I've already got a truck outside and waiting to rob the factory when you turn around. I might shout help again in a minute. And...
It's right, Leah's here. Leah'll beat you up.
Yeah.
Leah actually runs Combat Fuel. I'm just like the pretty face of it.
Yeah.
She does everything that's like important. And she, you know, you talked about your son being social media.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Leah's really young because she's like not that much younger than me.
Yeah.
She stood here like frowning at us.
Yeah.
But you know, like, you need to do more of your social media. I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's helped us grow like massively through social media. You know, like so many cogs to Combat Fuel now, and it's.
I think that's where men are quite lazy. We just see what's in front of us, and I think that's where, you know, getting back to, well, not getting back to because we've not spoke about females. That's where females will become really useful, I think, in the Royal Marines. Is that productivity?
Yeah,
they're very, you know, I said having this conversation the other day. A female in business is very good at thinking about the future, the planning, the prep. You know, the organize. Have you got this? Have you got that? If we go to the beach, I'll have my trunks and a towel. You know, my missus.
Trunks?
Yeah, budgies. Yeah. All the time. My missus is the one who'll pack the sun cream and the, you know, the picnic, and she'll think about the wraparound.
We get there. I'll do it when I get there.
Yeah, well, like we're burned. Like, you know, we have, you know, everything else. So she, you know, I think it's interesting you say that about the business because females in business are very. I think
on females again, it sounds like really sexist, doesn't it? Females, but because you're married to one, how have you stayed married for so long? Because military relationships.
My wife asks that every day,
and it's it's not an easy thing though, right?
It's tough,
the demands of the military is huge, it's monumental, and divorce is extremely common, and people are serving, normal, whatever. You're on like your second or third wife because it's so hard, but you know, still happily married many years later. How? What's your takeaway from keeping a happy marriage?
I think, first of all, I married someone who I love. You know, Lou was like a mate of mine before we got together. So I think that helps massively. And you do grow apart, you change, you know, and there's things, we've had so many arguments, so many, you know, so much disruption. She persevered. We're both from Manchester, or Greater Manchester. She said, look, just seeing you on a Saturday and going home on a Sunday, it's not going to work. We need to sort this out. You either leave or we look at, like, moving. So I said, well, why don't you come down south? Like, you know, come and have a look at the southwest. So she came down, and her actual words to me when we moved down there into the married quarters was, I'll give this 2 weeks. So I was like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? I've already like got the pressure applied. But then fortunately, one of the first people that she met was from the same town as her. Another lady called Kirsty, and them two just became really good mates. And I think that helps is your friends, your friendship. Pick the right friendship circle. You know, don't pick the lads that are going to the pub every night and you know, going. Like, I've been offered so many trips, like AT, exercise operations, loads of stuff. I think what you've got to remember, and I think, you know, call me what you want. I've been in now 24 years. I've done every unit. I've done ships drafts, overseas drafts. I've done operational tours. I've done 5 jungle canopies. I've done a JWICS. I've done everything a lot of people haven't. And all that's whilst I've been married with kids. Every decision I've made has gone through her as well. And there will be times where she'll go, well, I'm not happy with that. And it'll be in the back of my mind, but I'll be like, right, I've got that. But they're paying our wage. They're paying for us to live this lifestyle. The Marines are, you know, I've never been one of those blokes who knocks on a sergeant major's door and says, I'm going there because my wife isn't happy with this, or I'm going there because it'll look good on my CV and I want to get promoted. I've knocked on that door and I've said, give me 3 options every single time. And it's probably affected my career because I'm obviously still a sergeant. I've probably affected my career. My family's probably affected my career, but I believe in the call with my family. So yeah, I'm not a W01 or an officer commissioned, but I'm a happy sergeant who will leave happy and with my family and everyone who I love and my mates. And don't think I've pissed anyone off. That means something to me. I've probably pissed a lot of people off, but
I think it's a brilliant way of doing it. And you think you're living with your family that are going to be there first enough, and you're potentially not even halfway through your life.
yeah.
You know, at 41, you've possibly got like another maybe 60 years left to go, and you had a full career in the military.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I hope not 100.
Yeah. It's like that nod in it who knows what he's doing and the one who doesn't. Like, what's better?
Yeah. I'd love to know my end date. I'd
Yeah.
love to know it and work back from that.
Yeah.
If I had one wish, that would be it.
That was one lesson I learned when I was at Poole. I was working with a W01 at Poole. I won't mention his name because of obvious reasons, but one thing he said to me, and again, he was so inspirational, was if you knew what day you'd die, how would you change your life? And we worked in a department where it's quite a good job actually at Poole. We were working with lads that were broken physically, mentally, medically, but they didn't want to admit it because they didn't want to get taken out of the squadrons because they knew they'd just get replaced immediately. But if they stayed in there, they were just a problem to the squadron. So one of the first questions he'd ask him, and this bloke he'd done everything. He was on pretty much every picture in the mess. You know, not one person walked around camp and went, oh yeah, he's a bit of a dick. Everyone had so much respect for him. And he said, one of the first questions was, if you knew what day you'd die, how would you change your life? And it's such a deep question, that, because why are we not? We're all going to die.
Yeah,
we're all going. So why are we not doing that anyway? Why are we not being happy? And speaking to someone yesterday, oh, I've not been promoted again. I've not done this. I've not done that. What am I doing here? Why am I here? It's like, you put yourself here. I put myself exactly where I am today, and I'll answer any question, you know, as to why I'm there. And I think that's you've got to own that. You know, just be you and deal with the situation. And I think a lot of people struggle with that sometimes.
Before we draw to an end though, Tom, can we get a bit of advice? Let's go with your younger you.
Yeah.
Fat ginger kid at school. What are you telling to him?
Strap in. It's going to get fucking rocky. But we're going. I don't want to know the future. I don't want to know the future. I don't like Mystic Meg was sat over there now. I'd be going that way. I don't care. I'll write my path. I'll write my chapters.
Not the end point, is it? That matters. It's the journey.
It's how you get there.
Counts.
And that's the same with everybody wants that magic pill or that magic program to get them through commando training. Just suck it up, strap in, and just embrace the journey and enjoy it. Because I hated commando training when I was going through it. But now when I look back at it, I laugh. And I speak to lads in my troop. We've got a little WhatsApp group. And we talk about things that we've done and where we've been and everything. And we're like, we laugh about it. Do you remember that time when we got thrashed for that? And it just brings a smile to your face because you got through it. It's adversity. Yeah. You know, and getting through it with a group of friends just creates that bond. It's pointless just getting to the end without a journey. You know what I mean?
A piece of advice for someone getting ready. I might join the Royal Marines. I don't know if it's for me. I might. What if I fail? People don't look at me. What's a piece of advice for them?
What if you win? Like, yeah, you might fail. You might come top of the course. Stop listening to other people. Be you. You have to be you. You have to go off instinct. You have to listen to people who influence you and people who mean something to you, not people who you've never met before.
Brilliant.
Just go with it.
Thank you so much for the journey coming down here, for your time, and for being a good friend to us and the brand. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. Thank you.